Well, rum is as sophisticated as any spirits in the world. People sometimes, when they refer to a cognac or a Bordeaux or maybe Scotch, they sometimes want to speak of it with a sense of an air of sophistication. But in fact, we are as sophisticated and even more than that. In fact, I'm proud of the fact that, you know, the very science of rum making is deeply rooted to our ancestry here in the Caribbean. There was no other place rum could have been made but here, right? The whole world came to the Caribbean for many different reasons, right? Whether you were a descendant of a colonist, an indigenous person, someone whose ancestors were brought here under forced labor condition, etc. We all met and we were able to create this beautiful product called rum, and that we ought to hold on to and appreciate. So when our visitors come to this part of the world, that is part of the backdrop I would like them to appreciate and to embrace when they come into our space.
So let me formally welcome you all to Grenada Distillers Limited, home to Clarke's Grenadian #1 rum. We established in 1935 and had the first production line in 1937. We started off as a sugarcane industry producing sugar on a large scale, whereas rum at a lower scale. However, that sugarcane industry became fully seized in 1937, rolling over to Oregon Distillery to this very day. This section right here is known as the scale beam, which was created in Birmingham, London in 1935 as well. This will not only weigh the trucks, but also the sugarcane that comes from the plantation. From this procedure, it will then move to the staller and the vat, which is known as our heist. This heist used to have a total of 8 mesh, assists offloading the sugarcane from the trucks directly across to the feed table. Once the sugarcane goes inside the feed table, the trucks will come back onto the scale beam for a second weigh. That second weigh would deduct the first, and that's how the right amount of sugarcane that was properly brought in. Would move in a forward motion vibration. While during that process, it will shake off debris like leaf, grass, straws, dirt, and even insects, cleansing the sugarcane.
Right.
From that procedure, it will then get transferred to our conveyor belt, and if you both have a look on the inside of it, you're going to see 20 sharp blades. These blades would cut the sugarcane up into smaller pieces, ensuring once you reach onto the inside, this is very easy to grind. And the last year these two equipment stopped work was in 1985.
We have responded to a lot of the economic and social evolution over time. As we referred to in the past, it's a difficult thing for us to sometimes grapple with, but the fact is that slavery and that labor force was the engine behind the initial creation of this rum industry.
Built in Manchester, England in 1860, this equipment has been here for generations. And when you look at these chains, it's hard not to think about the history they represent, taking you back to a time when the rum industry was built on the labour and exploitation of enslaved people. It's a powerful reminder that the history of rum isn't just about the spirit in the bottle. It's also about the people whose labour built the industry.
Over the years, we have evolved from emancipation to post-emancipation, recognizing, for example, that sugarcane fields and maintaining these estates became rather impossible economically. So estates were shrunk down, villages were cut up and created, and facilities like our distillery would have found sources close by, like those companies and regions that still have large sugarcane fields that makes, for example, brown sugar. The byproduct of that is molasses, which is a raw material that is critical for our industry. So we import molasses from those sources. Of course, we have our standards, so we ensure that the sources that we get from subscribe to a wide variety of standards, right? We are a part of a larger grouping called WISPA, which is West Indies Rum and Spirit Producers Association, and we have a lot of standards governing, for example, fair and ethical practices, where the sources of these products come from, like the molasses fields and the sugarcane fields, the sources that the molasses come from, etc., to ensure that we contribute to improving and, repairing some of the historical damage that colonialism and slavery and so has brought upon this industry.
When you start to understand the history behind rum in the Caribbean, you also start to understand that this isn't just an old distillery. It's a place that has had to evolve with the industry, while still carrying the weight of everything that came before it. And I wanted to see just how that history translates into the actual process of making rum here at Grenada Distillers.
Now, these are the original tools that are still being used to this day, not only to maintain the mill house, but our mill engine right here, which was created in Glasgow, Scotland. It goes up to 70 revs per minute, and we turn it on every ending of the month. It is poured from the launch wheel in our back, which is the furnace, that provides us with all the steam for all the other equipment to run as well. This is the juice extractor that will grind the sugarcane into smaller pieces, extracting the sugarcane juice from it. Now, this equipment was known as the work gym back in the previous days because of it having to use 10 to 12 times a day on the pressure, heat, and noise. Now, the second reason why it was called a work gym is because by the ending of the day or the week, both male and female that use this will literally lose weight and build more muscle. Alright, see what I feel like?
So like 20 kilos.
Precisely. Like to give it a try.
Pretty strong enough.
This is just one of the light ones. If you want to give it a try, you might need 2 hands for this one.
that? Oh my gosh.
So walk on right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sweating already. It was just so fast.
Exactly. This is what you use for using your, drills. Now we're gonna move to the top deck, where you're gonna have an overall view of the mill engine.
This is huge.
The space we occupy in the Woodlands Delta area, the old folks used to call it sugar bowl. In fact, as a little boy growing up, most of the lands around here was cultivated with sugarcane. Most of the families can trace their own ancestors to having some kind of employment right here at, back in those days it was called sugar factory.
This long pipe going towards the pistol.
Right.
As it impacts the pistol, it will move back and forth, releasing oil so the surface will continuously stay smooth. That will then trigger the latch wheel to rotate, and by doing that, it will have a chain reaction and all the other wheels to start rotating as well.
Yeah.
That is how the mill engine will operate. Alright?
High pressure.
Now, precisely. Now behind us, we have our 3 lime enchants, and this is where the sugarcane juice will be mixed with our lime to preserve it for about 3 hours long. From here, we will then move to our juice heaters, which are like kettles. This will continuously boiling, killing the bacteria, giving us clean and bold juices. From this position, we will then move to the tank behind us, which is the subsider, where the clean will remain at the top and the pulp will gradually sink below. That pulp will then move to a filtered press, which would have a total of 8 mesh. These mesh will rotate several different times, cleansing the pulp, converting it right back into clean juice, and nothing will go to waste.
Okay.
These two clean juice will become as one and then goes to the 4 tank that we were talking about earlier on, the evaporators, where it will vaporize the water molecules. That's how we get the thick, wet, brown syrup.
Right.
That thick, wet, brown syrup will then move to the 2 large crystallizing tanks at the top. We add 320 degrees Fahrenheit heat towards it, and as it gradually turns and cooks, it will form and produce wet brown sugar.
process has evolved over the years. Brown sugar was once filtered using bleach, but today charcoal is used instead. And you can see that evolution all around the distillery, with modern technology standing alongside machinery from generations ago.
Now we move on to the rum making process.
In fact, this particular facility dates back to 1937, but in fact, as early as the late 1600s, sugarcane was planted here by the early colonists. Their old archival footage and information that spoke about the windmills, because they made use of the winds coming through from the Woburn area straight across the Northeast Strait to power those mills. And later on, of course, you had water wheels in many distilleries throughout the island. And then in the early industrial period of the early 20th century, you had this masterpiece created here, Sugar Factory, and then it evolved into Grenada Distillers Limited, which we currently are today.
Now, these machineries right here are known as our holding plants. Each holding plant serves a basket that will gradually turn, and as it gradually turns, the molasses will be stripped away from the wet rum sugar. Once that happens, the rum sugar will then go to the curing tanks or our holding plants again below, where it's be fully cured, bagged, and distributed to shops and other supermarkets. The molasses, on the other hand, will move directly to the two large tanks on the outside, which holds up to 140,000 imperial gallons. And we obtain these molasses from Panama and also from Guyana. Okay. Now, molasses is also very beneficial as well, not only for ourselves, but for plants and animals. First off, it packs a good source of nutrients. Second, it's a good cold reliever. Third, it helps our iron and immune system. And lastly, it provides us with a good source of energy.
The story of rum is inseparable from the story of sugar. As the sugar industry changed, so did the way that distilleries like this one operated. And while Grenada may no longer have the vast sugar estates that once dominated the landscape, one important part of the process still finds its way into the rum: molasses. And that's where the next chapter begins.
Well, this product, which is known as wash, has three different ingredients inside of it. First will be the molasses, second will be the industrial yeast, and third will be water. This will sit here for 3 days maximum, and after the third day have passed, the bacteria that makes that alcohol would then die. During that process, we get 7% raw alcohol and 58% sweetness. Also, on top of that, there is another product like this that we can sample right off the bat. A sample of this will literally shut you down completely. Reason why inside of it contains all methanol, ethanol, and also cusic oil.
Okay, right.
In order to
So don't drink that. So we've gone from the raw material through processing, and now we're getting closer to what we actually recognize as rum. The molasses becomes the starting point for fermentation, and from here, things really start to get interesting.
So now we're going to move to the final stage, the distillation product.
Fast forward to current era, where a lot of us now are involved, not just as laborers in the field, but visionaries who are now charting the new course for the evolution of rum and this very unique spirits. We have engineers and scientists and marketing experts and so that have contributed to the global spirits industry that came from right here in the Caribbean. And those are things that we ought to be proud of.
Right, so this is the distillation column. Here we have our methanol, which we use to create hand sanitizer and also mentholated spirits. Alright. Here we have the ethanol at the end, which we use to make all of our rums, sanitizing solution. And in other countries, as England for example, we use it for the F1 race cars as fuels.
Ah.
So these two products are then moved into the laboratory, where the chemists will test, blend, flavor, dilute, and even age. That is how we get our approximately 25 regular rums and about 5 to 6 premium age rums that we obtain from the Jack Daniel barrel and also from our white oak barrel.
We've followed the journey from sugarcane and molasses through fermentation and distillation. And now we're at the point where all of that hard work becomes spirit. But making the rum is only part of the story. What happens afterwards can be just as important. Completed a wonderful tour. Now the only thing left to do was visit Nick's Barrel House, the distillery shop and the spot where we'd be tasting our way through the Grenada Distillers range. And honestly, this place was a whole vibe. After seeing the distillery from the inside, suddenly being surrounded by all the different expressions brought a whole new sense of life to the tour. And then you start noticing what's on the walls. Awards, accolades, and recognition from years gone by. A reminder that this isn't just a first-class distillery, but one that's been producing world-class rum year after year. Seeing that recognition displayed alongside the bottles really gave you a different appreciation for what we'd just seen. And after seeing the history, the craftsmanship, and the recognition that surrounds this distillery, there was only one thing left to do. Taste the rum for ourselves. Because seeing how it's made is one thing, but tasting your way through the range gives you a completely different appreciation for what Grenada Distillers is producing. And this wasn't going to be a quick taste of just 1 or 2 bottles. In front of us, 23 different expressions, each with its own character, flavour, and story to tell. So we buckled up, got the glasses ready, and prepared ourselves for what was about to be a serious rum tasting.
It's like Skittles. You know when you're eating Snickers, you actually feel
Caramel.
better. Yeah.
Smell it.
This one don't give you wings though. This one gives you jet fuel.
It's really good. Just went out on passion fruit.
It gets lighter.
Oh yeah.
You get to, what do they call it?
White ball. The good stuff.
Yes.
So
Hey, it's
good.
only fair if you hear that you gotta go. I normally say you gotta try something big. Even if it's our signature rum, you have to tell the tale. Of course. Have fun. Forgot you also gave me trying the job oil as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charcoal, yeah. It's very beneficial, yeah. That's what gives it the dark flavor.
I feel like you can even feel the charcoal.
Yeah, you get like a rust.
Yeah.
Like a rust towards it.
Yeah, that one looks scary.
I just want a little bit.
Oh, the good stuff? I got you.
Boys band, because I tasted that in something else the other day.
With this?
Yeah, what's the extract that's in it? Is it like the...
I think it's because of the bottle.
That is cold. Did you try that one?
No, but because it's got that in it, I'm scared to try it.
What is that?
The bubble day.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That's like,
Natural
just stay
herb.
away. Huh?
It's a family of cinnamon, but it's a natural herb which you use for.
So is that the flavour that you get coming through the most?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's an acquired taste.
It's very unique.
Can I try a tiny glass?
Oh, sure.
Tiny drop. Stop. Thank you.
Good to the last drop.
I feel like it tastes,
Right?
this is the one that tastes like old man.
Like old.
That perfumey taste that I was telling about.
You don't like Old Spice?
Old Spice, yeah.
Let me.
Just smell it. It's
I
the,
think,
it's
I
the
think
one
Old
from
Man
the-
is a cousin version of the Old Spice.
Yeah. I need something sweet after that. Thank you.
How is it? How is it?
There we go.
Was your fan?
There we go.
The only fear that I give for everyone last sample can try a premium nutmeg signature black.
Ooh, really nice. And that brings us to the end of our visit to Grenada Distillers. From the history and heritage to the people, the process, and the incredible range of expressions, this has been a real journey into Grenadian rum. If you've enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe to Rum Love, and let us know in the comments which expression you'd want to try first. But before we go, let's leave the final word to Simon Greene, General Manager of Grenada Distillers.
Rum that comes from Grenada in particular and Grenada Distillers Limited have a very unique heritage. Well, the rum heritage is a huge part of our Caribbean DNA. I don't think you can speak of the Caribbean and not speak of the value and the importance of rum. In fact, most of the wealth that was generated in Europe once upon a time came from the sugar barons of the Caribbean. At one time, historians suggest that they were wealthier than even the monarchs. So we have fueled the industries of North America and Europe. Our ancestors were exploited. Those of us of African ancestry could relate to that, and even Indian ancestry, because later on came the indentured servitude that happened after most of the colonies emancipated the African slaves. But a lot of what occurred even up to the 1950s in Grenada with the, sharecroppers and folks being forced to work in very difficult conditions. All that was geared at still fueling this machinery of producing sugar and then rum.